Smoking in the media is a big area of unseen tobacco promotion. Cigarette companies have worked with film producers for decades to make sure their products appear in films. In the early days of Hollywood, stars would have contracts with cigarette companies to promote their products. That all became illegal within the last 10, 15 years. And so now it's illegal to pay to have your cigarette in a movie, but they're still there. And they're present in really quite incongruous places. What
we would suggest would be that films containing tobacco should be classified only for an adult audience, with very few exceptions, such as where it's historically accurate. Now, there are examples of where it is historically accurate, but there's also quite a few examples of where there really doesn't seem to be any justifiable reason for it being there. I think a very good example is Avatar. It shows Sigourney Weaver, one of the main characters at the very beginning of the film, coming out of her avatar pod, and the first thing she does is ask for a cigarette.
Who's got my goddamn cigarette? Guys, what's wrong with this picture? Thank you.
That would be bizarre if she was working in some sort of space technology centre in the UK today, but in a space station on another planet 150 years in the future, it's just completely unthinkable that somebody would smoke in those circumstances.
Would you mind if I asked you a business question?
Depends on the question.
It has to do with death.
It's odd, for example, the woman who smoked in Skyfall did so in a casino in Shanghai. China's men, still the majority of Chinese men, smoke cigarettes, but a small minority of women. That's a huge potential market. In my view, that's an advertising ploy aimed particularly at China.
How would you know that?
We don't have evidence that these things are paid for, but it does seem very suspicious.
Young people are more likely to experiment with and to start smoking if they're exposed to larger amounts of tobacco content in films. We coded for the presence or absence of different types of tobacco exposure, whether it was tobacco use or it was paraphernalia or included branding.
Roll me one of those, cowboy.
Some research has been done in the US, and they found that really it's volume of exposure alone that seems to be the factor, whether it influences the young person, rather than necessarily the context in which it's shown, whether it's a good character or a bad character.
I'll make you rich.
Where children see smoking in films, they identify with the behaviour and they are more likely to become smokers themselves in the future. So exposure now makes you more likely to take up smoking. The Rush film features the rivalry between James Hunt and Niki Lauda when they were racing for McLaren, which was also sponsored by Philip Morris for some years. And the trailer that was released online a few weeks ago shows frequent Marlboro badging on the cars. It's just part of the furniture almost. We've complained about the Marlboro logos, and some of that branding has been removed from the UK trailers. So although they say there's nothing going on here and it's nothing to do with you, they actually act on it. It's hard to remove all of it, but there's obviously been some response to the fact that we've complained.